The lunch bell echoed through the halls of Hamilton High, sending students scrambling out of classrooms and into the bustling cafeteria. For most, it was a break, a time to laugh, eat, and chat with friends. But for Aaliya, it felt like walking into a battlefield. At 16, she was used to keeping her head low and her words few. Being quiet had never been a choice, really. Life had taught her early that silence was safer. But today, there was something different in her step. Clutched in her hands was her lunch tray, but the real treasure was the new pastel blue top she wore, soft, simple, and beautiful. It wasn't flashy or trendy, but to her, it meant everything. She'd saved every rupee from tutoring 3 kids after school, skipped out on snacks, and spent hours walking past that boutique downtown, just dreaming. Her dad had insisted she use the money for school books or something practical, but she'd smiled and said, "I just want to feel normal." She had barely walked 5 steps into the cafeteria when the all-too-familiar voice sliced through the noise. Well, look who thinks she's a fashion model now. Brielle. Tall, popular, rich, and cruel in a way only someone who's never known struggle can be. Flanked by her usual shadows, Jenna and Marcus, she strutted over with a sneer. Aaliya didn't respond. She never did. That had always been the safest route. Keep walking. Keep your head down. But Brielle wasn't here just to mock. Today, she wanted a show. She reached out before Aaliya could move and grabbed the front of her new shirt. There was a sound that stopped time RIP as the fabric tore. Aaliya gasped, her face burning, her arms flying up in instinct to cover the damage. Around them, the cafeteria began to hush. A few gasps. A snicker. Some just looked away, pretending not to notice. And Brielle? She stood proud, laughing like she'd won. But something changed in that moment. Aaliya didn't cry. She didn't run. She lowered her arms, straightened her back, and looked Brielle dead in the eye. Her voice, though quiet, was sharp as glass. "You shouldn't have done that." Jenna blinked in confusion. "What did you say?" Brielle chuckled, turning to Marcus as if ready to mock her again. And that's when it happened. Aaliya took 2 steps forward, twisted her body with precise power, and launched a flying elbow straight into Marcus's chest. The sound of the impact was undeniable. He stumbled back, crashing into the lunch table and landing hard on the floor. Gasps turned to chaos. Trays dropped. Phones came out. Aaliya stood there, calm, composed, breathing steady. Her stance was solid, her fists clenched, but she didn't move again. Marcus groaned on the ground, stunned. Brielle stood frozen. No one had ever fought back before. Especially not the quiet girl. What they didn't know was that Aaliya had trained in Muay Thai since she was 8 years old. After her mom passed away, her father had enrolled her in martial arts to help her cope with the grief, the loneliness, the anger she didn't know how to express. It wasn't just self-defense. It was therapy. A discipline. A silent strength. She never used it. Never needed to. Until now. The teacher came rushing in moments later, alerted by the eruption in the cafeteria. The principal was called. The 3 students were taken to the office. Phones were confiscated, but not before the video had already made its way online. In just a few hours, it went viral. "Quiet Girl Destroys Bully in School Cafeteria" became the headline everywhere. And yet, Aaliya didn't post about it. She didn't reply to messages or boast. She just went home. When her father saw the torn shirt and heard what happened, he didn't scold her. He didn't raise his voice. He simply looked at her and nodded. "You finally stood up. I'm proud of you." That meant more than any online praise. But things didn't get easier right away. Aaliya was suspended for 3 days. Some people said it was too harsh. Others said it was necessary. But what no one could deny was that the story had already taken a life of its own. Comments flooded in online from strangers. People cheered her courage. Others shared their own stories of bullying and staying silent. It became more than just a viral video. It became a moment that many felt deep in their bones. Still, Aaliya stayed grounded. She helped her dad with house chores. She kept studying. She cleaned the floors like she always did and studied late into the night. Nothing changed, and yet, everything had. When she returned to school, people stepped aside. Some with awe. Some with guilt. A few students, the same ones who used to giggle behind her back, came up to say sorry. A couple of freshmen even told her she was their hero. She didn't know what to say to that. But perhaps the most unexpected thing happened a week later. Aaliya was leaving the school building when she spotted Brielle sitting alone near the sports bleachers. Her usual confidence was gone. She sat hunched over, head down, quietly wiping tears. Aaliya hesitated. She could have walked past. She had every right to. But instead, she sat down beside her, leaving a small space between them. Brielle looked up, startled, her eyes red. "What do you want?" she asked, defensive. Aaliya shook her head. "Just making sure you're okay." There was a long silence before Brielle muttered, "My mom's leaving my dad. And she said it's my fault." Aaliya didn't say anything for a moment. Then quietly, she replied, "It's not." Brielle sniffled. "You should hate me." Aaliya shrugged. "I did. But, maybe you're hurting too." Another pause. Then Brielle turned and whispered, "I'm sorry. About the shirt. About everything." Aaliya looked out at the field. "I'm sorry about your pain," she said. They sat there in silence for a while. Not friends. Not enemies. Just two girls trying to survive their own storms. Aaliya's story isn't about revenge. It's about rising. It's about knowing your worth even when others try to tear it down. About holding on to your strength, your discipline, and your dignity. Because strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers in moments where others would crumble. And sometimes, it flies through the air with an elbow that changes everything. To anyone who's been mocked, hurt, or underestimated, your silence doesn't make you weak. Your story matters. Your strength is real. And one day, when it counts, you'll show the world exactly who you are. If this story touched your heart, share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your experience or someone you know who stood up against the odds. And if you believe more people need stories like this, stories of courage, of quiet strength, and of standing up for yourself, please like, subscribe, and support this channel. We tell stories that lift, inspire, and remind us all to be kind always.